Ethan Cole never liked flying. Not because of the height, but because every takeoff reminded him of the things he'd lost. It had been 5 years since his wife passed away, leaving him with their 5-year-old son, Noah, and a heart that hadn't learned to trust happiness again. That morning, Ethan and Noah boarded a small connecting flight after visiting Ethan's sister. He was tired, thinking only of getting home, making pancakes and reading Noah his favorite bedtime story. The cabin buzzed with the usual chaos, people searching for seats, overhead bins clicking shut, babies crying. Noah had the window seat, clutching his toy airplane. "Daddy, do pilots ever get scared?" he asked. Ethan smiled faintly. "Maybe, but good ones never show it." Then he noticed her. A few rows ahead, a woman in her 30s sat trembling, eyes wet, fingers digging into her seatbelt. Her breathing was shallow, almost panicked. The flight attendant knelt beside her, whispering, but the woman shook her head, whispering something about not being able to do it. Ethan's instincts kicked in, the same quiet pull that made him run toward, not away. He leaned toward the attendant. "Switch me with her," he said softly. Within minutes, Ethan had given up his seat beside Noah and moved next to the woman. Her hands were ice cold. "You're okay," he said gently. "Just breathe with me, one slow breath at a time." Her eyes lifted, glassy, frightened. "I'm sorry. I thought I could handle it. No need to apologize. Flying scares a lot of people. It's not the flying," she whispered. "It's the memories." The engines roared. Ethan offered his hand without thinking. She hesitated, then took it. Her grip was small, desperate, human. As the plane climbed, she closed her eyes and whispered something he almost didn't catch. "He used to fly." Ethan didn't ask who he was. Some grief doesn't need questions. 2 hours later, the plane landed smoothly. The woman, calmer now, turned to him. "Thank you. You didn't even know me," he smiled. "You looked like you needed a seat, and I had one." She laughed quietly, the first sound of light he'd heard from her all flight. "I'm Ava." "Ethan." They shook hands, and then she was gone, lost in the crowd before he could even say goodbye. But fate wasn't done. That night, as Ethan tucked Noah into bed, his phone buzzed. "Unknown number, Ava. You don't know me, but you saved me today. Can I buy you coffee tomorrow?" "I owe you that much." He almost didn't reply. But Noah looked up from his pillow and said, "Daddy, the lady from the plane. She was nice. You should be her friend." So he typed back, "Coffee sounds good." The cafe was small, with brick walls and soft music humming low. Ava arrived a few minutes late, her hair loose, her eyes still carrying that quiet ache of someone who's fought too many battles alone. "Thank you for coming," she said. "Thank you for not dying on me mid-flight." Ethan joked gently. She smiled, really smiled this time, and something about it felt like sunlight after a long winter. They talked for hours, about Noah, about her late husband, a pilot named Captain James Sterling, who had died in a crash 2 years earlier. "I thought I could fly again," she said softly. "Yesterday was my first attempt, but when I sat in that seat, it was his seat, and I froze." Ethan listened quietly. "You were brave for getting on the plane at all." Ava looked down, fingers tracing her coffee cup. "Brave would have been staying in that seat. You were the brave one," he shook his head. "I just gave up my spot." She met his eyes. "No, Ethan, you gave me something I didn't think I'd find again. Air." They laughed, they shared stories, and when they left, it wasn't awkward. It felt easy, like they'd both remembered what comfort felt like. Weeks passed. Ava started visiting the garage where Ethan worked. Sometimes she'd bring coffee for him. Sometimes she came just to talk. Noah adored her, called her Miss Ava the Plane Lady. One weekend, she joined them at the park. Noah ran ahead, his toy airplane soaring in his hand. "Miss Ava, I'm flying just like you." Ava laughed, the sound clear and unbroken. "You might even be better than me." Ethan watched her as she watched Noah, that rare, quiet joy in her eyes. For a moment, he realized she wasn't just a woman healing from grief. She was teaching him how to breathe again, too. Later that day, as they sat on a bench, Ava said softly, "I've been offered a job." Sky East Airlines wants me to train new pilots. That's amazing, Ethan said, smiling, though his chest tightened. It's in another city, she added. I don't know if I'm ready to leave. Ethan's voice softened. Maybe this is what James would have wanted, for you to fly again. She nodded slowly. Maybe, but the thought of leaving you and Noah... He looked at her for a long moment. Sometimes the people who give us our wings aren't meant to stay forever. They just remind us that we can still fly. Her eyes filled with tears. What if I want to stay? Ethan smiled faintly. Then maybe you already found your new runway. A week later, a letter arrived. Ava Sterling, flight instructor, Sky East Aviation. Ethan felt proud. But he also felt the quiet ache of goodbye. That night, as he tucked Noah into bed, the boy asked, Daddy, will Miss Ava come back? Ethan smiled. She's flying now, buddy. But she'll always find her way home. Months passed. Then one morning the phone rang again. Mr. Cole, a calm voice said. This is Captain Reynolds from Sky East. Ava Sterling asked us to call you. Ethan's stomach dropped. Is she all right? Oh, she's wonderful, the captain said, chuckling. She just completed her first successful solo flight since her husband's accident. She wanted you and your son to know she did it because of you. The next day, Ethan and Noah stood near the runway as a small training jet rolled to a stop. Ava stepped out, sunlight catching the silver wings pinned to her chest. Noah cheered, waving his toy plane in the air. You did it, Miss Ava. She laughed, scooping him into a hug before turning to Ethan. Her eyes glistened. You came. Wouldn't miss it, he said quietly. I'm proud of you. She reached into her pocket and held out a small worn pin, engraved with Captain James Sterling. This belonged to him, she whispered. But I think he'd want you to have it. Ethan shook his head. Ava, You already wear it here, she said, touching her heart. You saved me, Ethan. Now it's my turn to say thank you. Later, as the sun dipped low, they walked along the runway. Ava slipped her hand into his, their fingers fitting as easily as breath. Do you believe people meet for a reason? She asked softly. Ethan smiled. After you, yeah. I do. Noah ran ahead, his small airplane gliding against the sky. Daddy! Miss Ava, look. It's flying again. Ethan laughed, looking at Ava. Guess we all are. The wind stirred, carrying the faint hum of engines, the scent of rain, the memory of loss, and the promise of something new. Ava leaned her head against his shoulder, whispering, Sometimes the people who give up their seat are the ones who help you find your wings. Ethan looked at her, this woman who had once been a stranger, in panic, and smiled. Then let's keep flying, he said. And as the plane soared overhead, its shadow passing over them like a blessing, Ethan realized something simple and beautiful. Sometimes you don't have to reach the clouds to feel like you're finally home.